Round, up and around, round and down. Oh, hey guys, I'm just practicing my nines. Some of you guys said I needed to work on it. For this week's Friday feature though, I want to do something a little bit different. I'm always asked the same kind of question. What's your favourite boss in World of Warcraft? What's the worst boss in World of Warcraft? Why is it Blackwater Behemoth? Isn't there something worse than that? No, there isn't. But the point is, one thing we've realised from doing the last few videos is it's the memories of the people. When people come to me and they say, what's your favourite boss in World of Warcraft? It's Kel'Thas Sunstrider. However, is that the best moment I had in World of Warcraft? Absolutely not. It's up there, it's pretty good, but it's not the best. So it got me thinking, what are my brightest days I've ever encountered in World of Warcraft? And nearly all of them are about the people we played with at the time. It doesn't have to be a difficult boss or even something overly complex if the people there culminated into having the perfect moment. So I'm going to do that. But I'm also not going to leave you hanging because the obvious question comes next. What were my darkest days in World of Warcraft? And that's what we're going to cover next Friday. So make sure you stay subscribed for that one. Without further ado, these are my top 5 big highlights in World of Warcraft. Let me tell you a story. The first story I'm going to regale you with takes us all the way back to the Burning Crusade. Karazhan, 10-man, yet we had a full roster. And that means that the groups need to be separated. Whose job was it to separate them? 'Twas mine. Let's go back to Karazhan, and I need to explain this because it makes me laugh every time I think about it. When the Burning Crusade came out, we obviously were reducing raids from 40-man down to 25-man, and then Blizzard introduced a 10-man raid, the much beloved best raid of all time, Karazhan. And with it, that created problems. Our roster consisted of about 27 to 30 people, and that means 3 Karazhan teams, right? Now, I was already aware that there is a definite problem when you start calling teams within a guild Team 1 and Team 2, and Team 3, for example. And as the raid leader and guild master, I saw it as my opportunity to show my benevolence, my heroic state of fairness as king of the guild. And so I sat down, and I want to admit, although Nups has corrected me, as he was part of the guild at this time, and as you may know, he is one of the members of the team working here now, he definitely has corrected my memory on some of these things. I truly believed up until a week ago when we were deciding the topics for this video that I was absolutely benevolent in every single way and shape and form. Apparently that wasn't true. I sat down and I decided I will break the guild into 3 separate teams that all have equal representation of classes so that each team is of equal strength. Now, this is where apparently I went wrong, and definitely, or so it seemed, I chose the people I preferred to play with, aka the better and funnier players, to be my team, which of course was Team Alpha. I let the guild choose their own names, and they came up with Team Alpha, Team Omega, and I think Team Victory, or Team Better Than the other two, something like that. That was the internal names of the guild. Team Alpha, which was my team, had the same classes as Team Omega and Team would win anyway, or whatever they called themselves. However, what did end up happening, which was very strange, is Team Alpha ended up farming Nightbane as pretty much a server first, while Team Omega never seemed to get past Curator, and Team were definitely going to win, were really struggling with Morose. This created some internal turmoil, and I got a message from Nups, who I made the leader of Team Omega, that he was done with this shit, and he doesn't understand how people can't do anything. What the fuck is going on? Okay, so now I needed to be Mr. Raid Leader Man, okay? So this is what I did, and I thought was appropriate, right? You can judge me. Judge away. Is I decided to move myself into Team Omega for one night only, right? Just to see what's going on. And that was the plan. I will swap with their Holy Paladin, as I was a healer at the time, and I will figure out what's wrong with Team Omega to hopefully get them through it. And wouldn't you know it, on the raid that I swapped over, they killed Nightbane that night. They killed bosses they had never killed before, and went on to have great success in Karazhan for that one night. I then had another problem, is that Team Omega said they weren't going to play unless I was in the team, and Team Alpha then had a problem that they couldn't get to Nightbane that night, which is I know that sounds like me rubbing my own horn, but that's what happened, and did not help my ego at the time. If any of you have heard story times during this period, they are on the YouTube channel, you'll know I was a super dick at this time. This kind of shit did not help. Ego inflating, to say the least. So, I decided the next best course of action, right? Like the king splitting the horse in half. I will move half of Team Alpha into Team Omega, and take half of Team Omega over to my team, and that way you've got people who've been farming Karazhan. Half your team has been farming Karazhan and they know what to do, and the other half can learn very quickly and we should beat Golden. And the other team, we'll get to them later, they're Team 3. I don't care what they call themselves. You're Team 3. What was the end result of all this that made me smile so much? Is it worked! God damn it. It absolutely worked. And from that moment on, the only messages I ever received were that nobody would swap back. That was the problem I had with these guys. But god damn it, it worked. Now, it does make me happy that at some point in my WoW career, I did make a good raid leadership decision that made 20 people happy. You're probably wondering about that third team. I can tell you right now, it didn't go well. It didn't go well at all. And what I tried to do was, after a little while, after they still couldn't get past Curator, is move the other guys around. So we had a ship-shaped team. I think we ended up doing what a lot of guilds did back then, was that abandon Team 3, and people who didn't need loot from Karazhan anymore would just sit, and then we would take other people into the teams. I think about this whole episode that nearly killed my guild. Honestly, this nearly killed my guild in so many different ways. And I made one decision which kind of worked. I made it happy. But in terms of my raid leadership, it was the ropiest time of my life and would definitely come back to haunt me in the future, which is where our next choice is. Next up, I'm going to take you back to the Burning Crusade again, but not for a boss that anybody would consider memorable in their eyes. Middle of Serpent Shrine Cavern. He lurked in a big open room, but I cannot help. Every time I think of this boss, the biggest grin in the world appears on my face. I submit to you, Leotheros the Blind. Okay, so we're still in the Burning Crusade, we're in Serpent Shrine Cavern, and this is Leotheros the Blind. How in the hell can Leotheros the Blind be one of the smiliest moments that I have in World of Warcraft? And some of you are about to step into TBC Classic, which is unquestionably, you're probably going to encounter this exact thing. And I hope that when it does, you don't rage. I hope that when this happens, you don't go into an absolute, like, how can you not do this? I hope you approach it with the same smile I did. Leotheros the Blind has a particular mechanic. And that is that you get a shade on you, like a reflection of yourself. And it's on individuals, and it can't be targeted by anyone else but you. And it has to be killed in a certain amount of time. Otherwise, I think it kills you or something like that. My healing team. My goddamn healing team. Could not do this for the life of them. And it was actually designed so that healers would have an easier time. These shades that would spawn will be vulnerable to holy damage and nature damage in the case of the shamans and the druids. They made them weaker so the healers could deal with this. I can't honestly remember whether this came later because healers were struggling with this so much. So what made me laugh about this and why I think about this with just the most enormous grin on my face is that Ghosty, who used to be working here, was part of the team at the time and was a healer. I had swapped to a warlock at this point. Went full out military grade in order to kill his shades to the point where realistically, you couldn't heal anymore, and this happened to all the healers. And they then swapped from being unable to kill their shades, and therefore we would wipe. So my entire healing team swapping to DPS gear, so they could kill their shades, but no longer being able to heal the raid, so we would wipe. And I'm talking like 3 weeks of progress to reach this point. And I wasn't aware, and this is why it makes me smile so much, is I wasn't aware they had done this. So when it came to the fact that the whole raid was alive, shades were being killed. So because as a raid leader, you'll know this. If you've ever raid led, you'll know when certain people get certain mechanics, you're just like, oh god, they're going to die. And then suddenly, lo and behold, the shades have spawned on those players, and they've killed them, and they're moving on with their lives. And I was like, oh my god, and then we would start dying. The revelation came when I started inspecting them, because none of them would own up to it, like that they had done this. And I checked, and they're all wearing like DPS nuke trinkets. They've swapped all their gear, so they no longer regen mana in any way, shape, or form. They just are able to do this one mechanic in about 2 seconds, overkill it to absolute death, but not die. And that was the important thing. And when I brought this up to them, they were all like, well, we need to kill the Shades. I was like, yeah, but you also need to heal the raid, right? Otherwise, this doesn't work at all. They're like, well, you can't have it both ways, Mike. I was like, you absolutely can. And forcing them down to it and laughing. The whole raid in hysterics when we found out that our healing team of 5 or 6 people are now entirely engulfed in DPS gear, just healing spec, and trying to get through a progression raid boss like that. Oh my god, that killed me now when that happened, honestly. Jesus Christ. This one's going to be more in line with what you expected from a video like this. You would expect my biggest moments in WoW to be big boss kills. Well, I have a couple of them for sure, but not for the reasons you expect. This one was a 10-man during the Cataclysm on a normal mode boss, and I truly cherish it as one of the biggest boss kills I ever achieved in my life. Let me tell you the tale of Nefarian Normal Blackwing Descent. There are times when I am asked, what would be my idyllic raid team? And I know that that question is basically like, if you could choose your all-star team from the best players in the world. But that's not the case. It's really not the case. In the Cataclysm, when we reformed a dead guild that died during the Burning Crusade, and we're going to be talking about that in next week's video, I purposely, individually reached out and contacted the absolute best of the best players I'd ever played with. And my 10-man Cataclysm team was as close to the idyllic team I would ever like to play with. And if I could play with this setup again, it's not perfect, some people said no, but it's very, very close to it. We're talking very close friends, people that I would spend hours and hours with outside of even playing World of Warcraft, the absolute creme de la creme, and such good players as well. That was my Cataclysm team. So, we come to the opportunity where we got to Nefarian in Blackwing Descent before any other guild. And this was being closely tracked on the server as to who was going to get the server first kill of Nefarian. And we were not yet stepping into the nightmare that would be Cataclysm 10-man heroics. So we were completely engulfed in our own greatness because we did super well. And now here we were, stood before Nefarian, before anyone else on the server, getting ready to do some damage. And it's hard to explain, but this fight was incredibly hard if you got there week 1. And we're talking within the first day or so. Nefarian was not easy by any means. So we had so many struggles to overcome. The crackle that would come down from the sky did more damage than the entire HP of 2 of our players. So they figured that, like one of our hunters figured that if he went and got a glyph of Raptor Strike that would give him some sort of 5% damage reduction, and he timed it perfectly with when the crackle would come, that he could just about survive if he ran into melee and did that. He would survive with about 4 HP, and we'd have to be prepared for that. And to say, and I'm so glad we have the comms for the last few minutes here, the calmest, most exceptional team that I have probably played with in World of Warcraft in a small, close-knit group. And there are many people I would consider part of that now. Yet, I look back at this team, and if I could swap, like, literally 2 or 3 people, this would be my idyllic, perfect World of Warcraft team. And we did manage to do it, and we have the last moments of this. And no matter how many ultra boss kills I've done, from high world kills to super hard bosses, whatever it might be, you can take your Star Augurs and your Guldans and your Kill Jaden heroics. You could take all those bosses and kiss my nuts. Kill Jaden mythic, sorry. Because this moment here, although the nerd screams I've had have been louder elsewhere, and that's always the case, this was just the peak of so much fun coming together in one place.
There's one more AoE incoming.
Maybe she will
Go
for the
now.
last one as well.
I'm ready to grip as well. You need a grip?
Wait. No. I need a fear.
Fear again. Helios, please.
Top airbus and use cooldown. AoE incoming.
Here's the AoE. Last AoE now.
Dispersion.
Last AoE now. Kill. Army drock. Get it ready.
Come on!
Come on for Poland. For Poland.
It is, guys.
I'm on.
It is.
Come on.
Come on.
Kill it, fucking. I can't do anything else now.
Kill it, kill.
Guys!
Yes! Fuck!
Now in a big plot twist, I'm going to tell you about one of my most memorable boss fights ever. And it's a boss I absolutely hate. In all manner of degree, I cannot stand this boss. And I will happily rate it on some of the worst bosses I've ever dealt with. Some people love this boss, but the reason it makes it onto my list is very, very different. Let me tell you the story of Helya Mythic. Helya. I can't stand Helya. I hate this fight. It's a dance fight, and I've explained this a number of times what a dance fight is. You just learn the moves. Everything in the Helya fight is entirely pre-scripted. You just have to be in the right place at the right time, and you're just waiting for the players to all learn to do the dance correctly. It's 10 minutes of ballet, essentially, to get it right. You need high damage, you need some sort of adaptation, but for the most part, right place, right time is going to get you through most of the Helya fight. Same as Operator Thogar, which a lot of people love, but I can't stand. Everything's predetermined, you just have to remember the route, and you're going to be fine. So how is it then that Helya ends up with one of my brightest moments? Well, there's a point that happens with a lot of guilds, where there's a turning point. And I believe for this guild here, which was at the time Stark Industries and ultimately went on to be Not Like This was that moment, as far as I'm concerned, was the Helya moment. When I joined Stark Industries, it was under not idyllic circumstances by any means. I joined them because I had applied to several high-end guilds and I had been accepted into them all. Yet, when it came time to go there, they were asking about monetary rights to if they were going to be featured in YouTube, what kind of advertising deals I could potentially get for the guild, would there be any equipment, headsets, that kind of thing, what kind of benefits would they get? And it wasn't a case that I wasn't good enough to be there and they just wanted it for the free stuff. It was just that they assumed that would be part of the package. To which I said, fuck off, man. And I've always tried to maintain a healthy distance between my raiding and my YouTube channel. And that is purely because the raiding part is my hobby. That is the thing I enjoy the most. And there are far too many horror stories floating around the internet of people turning their hobbies into work and then slowly starting to resent that hobby or not enjoy it anymore. So for a long time, I've tried to keep that spacer nice and clear on how things have gone. So I joined Stark Industries, who were, at the time, I think, World 700, 800, maybe 1,000. Not the greatest guild, but they were clearing Mythic, and that was enough for me. I also knew several members of the guild, and I'd spent time with them and knew they were fun people. So joining them was fine. I had a great time. I enjoyed it. But I was definitely, at that point, the guy coming from the high-end guild down to moving backwards, which was difficult for me at the time. I'd just sit and, for a lot of raid progression, and it used to be a bit of a meme, I would sit and watch Netflix, because for me, it was a backward stage. That's not a brag. It's just you're going from a high-end, a top 10 guild or something like Method, which I think I moved from there, to here. It's just a change of pace, that's all. So the guild started to get better really quickly, like very, very quickly, moving up in world ranks and getting better. But the real turning point, I think, was Helya. And the interesting thing that's not caught on video here is that just before this kill, this was the night before the next raid was coming out. I believe it was Tomb of Sargeras. Tomb was coming, and that would make Helya old content. And any kills that happened after Tomb came out would be less in the eyes of many players. And that was kind of a normal thing for the guild. But just before, once we got into this night, I think it was either just before the pull where we killed it, or it was the start of the raiding progression night on Helya. I remember stopping and telling the guys, like, this is a big deal for people who love World of Warcraft. What we can do here tonight, and I gave a little speech, yeah, as cheesy as it is, but I think it helped in a lot of ways, and just was so happy. This is one of the happiest moments I had with the guild, was saying, look, there are very few people in World of Warcraft who get an opportunity to do what we can do tonight, which is take down a boss that's not going to be killed by many people before this date. And you can check the statistics on this. Not many people killed Helya before Tomb came out. I think it was Tomb. We can do that. We can absolutely do that here tonight. We can stand up and we can get that job done. And wouldn't you fucking know it, we did. And that feeling when Helya fell and we did it, and we were one of those guilds that will go down in history that team of players did it before it was easier, did it before it was no longer relevant. We got our name on that scoreboard. And that was such a big deal to me, to be part of that turning point moment, to see that happen, and to see all these players just cheer with such delight that they had moved up in the World of Warcraft world, which was such a great feeling. And even though I disliked the fight, like mechanically, if you were to ask me top 5 and top, worst bosses, hell, you might even... I just don't like it. But it doesn't matter, because the memories we made that night are so special to me, and I love it very, very much.
Breath in the middle,
Go to the left.
smack down the middle.
Go to the left of the middle, guys.
Valley, you're up to the right of green.
So
Actually, on green.
You're also green. Yeah.
dispel shades.
Health
Health,
pots,
every
everything.
health,
Shades
everything
dead.
you have.
Yeah, come
Everything you
on!
have.
Fuck yeah!
Wait,
Holy
yes!
Oh, guys.
Nice!
Rip this bitch! Fuck yeah!
Hell yeah.
And the number one for me, my most hilarious, funny memory that I can remember in WoW. And every time this story is retold, it is done with smiles and cheers and happiness. How can it be that Blackhand, Warlords of Draenor, excruciatingly tough boss, mythic, was put to rest by a vacuum cleaner? Blackhand Mythic, notorious for its difficulty, its scale, its epic nature, multiple levels. The level of coordination required in order to defeat this boss is up there with some of the best. No doubt in many people's eyes considered to be one of the best bosses ever designed, and I fully agree with them. And it is that level of communication that really brings you together as a team. Throughout this fight, your best laid plans will come crumbling down when the tanks come out in a different order, or people aren't moving in exactly the right position, you missed one thing, somebody died, whatever it might be, and lots of adaptation needs to happen. Where did these pillars crash in the final phase? And one of the people you really need good communication with is your main tank. Your main tank is going to be coordinating a lot of stuff. So what happens then? When, at the moment you decide to pull, the sister of your main tank decides it's the perfect opportunity to start vacuuming around where he's playing. Because God knows that apartment needs cleaning right now. At 9 PM on a weekday night, that is when the vacuum comes out. And you can, I'm so happy we have this in the video footages. The opener is him keying up to ask for some sort of cooldown or to get something from somebody, and all we hear is a vacuum cleaner, and you can hear the other officers responding with, "Is that a vacuum cleaner?" And he's like, "Yeah, my sister started vacuuming," and we're all laughing, right? This has already made us relaxed. That is the pull we killed that fight. That was the one. That is the pull we killed that fight. And the moment at the end, and I won't spoil it, is just so unbelievable that we did this with our main tank being entirely deafened, unable to speak to us. And I have to say, I'm pretty sure this got us the kill, because it made us so happy and relaxed with such a stressful fight with so much going on that the entire raid team was just kind of giggling throughout this entire pull. And it was our first pull of the night. You can hear it, we killed it in one go. It wasn't our first progression pull, but it was the first pull of the night to see out the end of the tier. And as the cheers come raining in at the end, there he is, our hero that led us to victory. The vacuum cleaner.
No, that was macro. Only 1 million now.
On who?
Yeah. Yeah, Shane. Okay.
Oh, this sucks.
Are we out? Barrier and race, please.
Use all things.
Resin.
Oh my god!
Get it. Come on. Come on.
1 million.
Come on!
Do it.
Come on!
Yeah.
Fuck you, I'm trying, guys!
What? Nice.
Thank you so much for coming along this journey with me. It was truly a joy to talk about these things again and to share them with you, and I hope to see in our comments section stories very similar to this that aren't the big giant boss kills when I got #1 DPS, but those moments that make World of Warcraft truly special to you. And I look forward to reading all of them. Make sure you tune in next week. We will be looking at the darkest days in our history. Thank you. Goodbye. Hey guys, it's Mike. Thank you once again for watching. Remember, these videos are not really created by me anymore. They're created by our team, thanks to your wonderful support over on our website, preachgaming.com. If you choose to support, pick up a cool shirt like this, do whatever you want to do, then that is truly appreciated. Thank you very much, and I'll see you again. Bye-bye.